As a wedding videographer, my least favorite task is finding music for my films. It's time consuming, it's hard to specify exactly what you're hearing in your head, and sometimes it can feel like there isn't a song out there that fits the exact vibe that you want in your video. So after spending countless hours looking for music for my wedding films, here are some of my top strategies for making this step of creating wedding film a little bit less miserable than it already is. Number 1, use songs from other videographers. This was an especially helpful tip when I first started editing weddings, so rather than starting from scratch when it comes to finding a song, find a wedding film that you really like the music in and use the Shazam app, and you'll be able to figure out what the song is. And oftentimes if you're using a popular music licensing site like MusicBed or something like that, there's a good chance you'll be able to license it for your videos. So this is really helpful also if you're trying to emulate the style of a videographer that you like, and it's usually a lot quicker than going directly on your own to the music licensing site and trying to set up a custom search. Number 2, find a collection of musical artists that fit your style. If you found a song that you really like, make a note of the artist who created it, because the chances are they'll have a ton more songs with the similar style and vibe to that one. There are probably about half a dozen artists out there that I frequently come back to if I'm having a hard time finding the right song, because their vibe as an artist typically fits my videos and their vibe. Another benefit to using songs from the same collection of artists is that it helps you develop a specific style of video that you become known for. People aren't just hiring you for your video quality, but also for your taste in music, so it's important to keep a consistent vibe and style throughout. Number 3, carry the story of your video with dialogue rather than music lyrics. One of the most frustrating things is finding a song with a great vibe, but the lyrics don't quite work for the couple's story. Rather than trying to drive the story of your video with musical lyrics, opt for the instrumental version of the song and incorporate more dialogue elements like vows or speeches to carry the story. Not only will this be more true and meaningful to the couple, but it also takes away a huge factor to account for when you're choosing your music. I almost exclusively use instrumental music in my films now for this reason, and because I think it provides a more valuable video to my clients. Number 4, don't forget that you can edit songs. It's always great when you can just drop a song into your timeline and just start editing, but most of the time I end up editing a song in some way in order to fit my needs better. An obvious edit would be to cut the beginning of the song if I don't like the way it sounds, but you can also do this in the middle of the song if you line up the beats and the chord progression properly. Another edit I will frequently use is applying an EQ to the song if it has too much going on in the higher frequencies that is distracting from the dialogue in the video. Number 5, use 2 songs instead of 1. Oftentimes I'll find a song that works for the most of the video, but doesn't have a section that's exciting enough for the reception. Rather than just moving on and finding something different, use this song and find a different, more upbeat song that goes well with it to use during the reception or whatever section of the video you need. For a completely seamless transition between the songs, you'll want to look for songs in the same key, but you can usually get away with using songs of a different key if you finesse the transition a little and maybe use some background noise to bridge the gap between the 2 songs. Number 6, use playlists. Most music licensing sites have good playlists to help you find good music for your projects. Usually the wedding related ones are pretty good, but if the website you use has creator playlists, like MusicBed does for example, this is really the place you need to look. For example, Eric Floberg is a wedding filmmaker and YouTuber I really respect, and on MusicBed he has a playlist of his favorite songs for weddings. I've used a bunch of these in my wedding films, and there's also a whole bunch of other wedding filmmakers on here who also have playlists. Number 7, if all else fails, here's my go-to search parameters. This might not work if you're not a fan of the music in my films, but if you do like my style, here's the search criteria I use most of the time. Usually I'll select cinematic, ambient, and if there are too many sad or dramatic sounding songs coming up, I'll also select major key. This search criteria will usually get you a bunch of songs that will work well for a gentle, ethereal kind of video. And if I'm looking for something a little bit more exciting or upbeat, I'll use cinematic pop. If I'm also looking for a song that has lyrics in it, I'll usually select the romance or love option to get lyrics that will work well for a wedding video. Hopefully this video will make it easier for you to find good music for your wedding films. If you have any other hacks for finding good music that I didn't mention in this video, please let me know in the comments.